Today we will discuss about how immigrants can start their businesses, and we will hear about different kind of useful tips and ideas how to be a successful entrepreneur.
Have you thought about starting a business in Finland but don't know where to start? We interviewed earlier Ariful Islam, an EURES-advisor from Southeast Finland TE Services. Let's see what Ariful has to say about the topic. Welcome to the broadcast, Ariful Islam.
Glad to be here.
Today we're talking about entrepreneurship in Finland and mainly from immigrants' point of view. What would you say, what is the first thing you need to do when you're thinking to start a business in Finland?
Well, as an immigrant, if you are planning to start a business in Finland, I think first thing to consider is like to have a really careful planning, because I think the business environment varies from country to country, even from city to city. So for example, for some specific business idea, if you consider Helsinki as a target market and if you consider Kouvola or Kotka as a target market, there are a lot of differences. So that's why it is important to understand the environment. And if considering the careful planning, I would also like to mention about the importance of Finnish language skills. It has to be given top priority. I think you need to have a very good Finnish language skills in order to not only to survive but also to flourish with your business, because most of the services provided by government or the other partner organizations are in Finnish language. So if you don't have the skill to speak Finnish, you are literally depriving yourself from all those services. And second thing I would like to mention is the understanding of the working culture of that area or of that specific target market, because here I'm talking about the population and the age group and the number of competitors, the economic situations and the buying power of the people of that area, etc., etc. So once you have the idea of that market, then it gets easier to assess, like, is my business idea is going to work there or not.
That is true. And for the viewers, remember that the chat is open to leave your questions for Ariful. The answers will be given in the chat in writing. And Ariful, what should one do when they have an idea about their business?
Well, as soon as you have an idea of a business, first thing I'd recommend is to write it down in a piece of paper or maybe in a Word document. Because business ideas, like, they always come and go and then they can change if you just keep it in your mind. So write it down in a piece of paper or in a Word document, and then find the local business advisor. Like, we have free business advisors like who are ready to help you both by government and by the city. So it's easily you can find the services from our TE office as well. And contact the business advisor, discuss with the person, and they will enlighten you about your business idea, because they have like this expertise of advising with you related to that matter. So after discussing with the business advisor, then it gets easier to make the framework of your business plan and your financial plan, and then you can assess yourself, like, do you want to go for entrepreneurship courses or not. If you already have the knowledge of the business, you can start right away after that.
Yeah. Do you think networking with other entrepreneurs will help you getting started?
Absolutely, and actually I always recommend doing so. Even I have met different clients regarding this matter, and I always recommend it to, if possible, find an entrepreneur who has similar kind of business and networking with them, and if possible, even working with them as a trainee, which is also very simple nowadays. So in that case, what happens is like you can literally see how the business goes, and when you see what kind of challenges that entrepreneur was facing, so it helps you to avoid your own challenges when you work as an entrepreneur. So absolutely, it's I highly recommend that.
Yeah. And next we're going to see what Arseni and Ashad will tell about their business journeys.
My name is Arseni. I came here to Finland to study at LUT about 4 years ago. And then when I was in my final year completing my thesis and also working on a project work, it was a robotic arm assisting handymen and workers. I also made friends with my now business partner. I just finished my bachelor's the previous year. And when I was finishing working on the project, I had an idea of AI virtual assistant, and well, there was an AI boom that time. Why don't to try? Why not to try? What we do is basically we're developing an AI-powered searching tool right now that allows you to find reliable information quickly, either from the internet or from organizations' files. Our main target group is universities and businesses. I don't know why I would recommend entrepreneurship, but I know why I decided to start a business and why I'm keeping doing that. Is the reason is that I wake up every day and I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing that. And that like feeling of fulfillment and purposefulness in what I'm doing is really amazing, and I wouldn't trade it really for anything. Yeah, that's just the best.
Hi, my name is Ashad Anis. I moved to Finland about 2 years ago. I'm originally from Pakistan. I live around 20 years in Dubai. I registered a company here called American Kitchen with PRH, and this is a food restaurant brand which is growing in Finland right now. I see Finland is a great country. They provide huge opportunities to the people. The entire ecosystem, such as economic department, Wilma, business mill, Day office, Scala, this ecosystem is really great, especially from the family side. When I moved here, I had known nothing about this country in terms of how things will work. But luckily that there is a great integration program. I think why should I encourage people to be an entrepreneur? I definitely recommend everyone to be an entrepreneur. I've seen the other side of the table, that what is entrepreneurship look like. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. Entrepreneurship is the people who really want to make a difference. And I can see Finland has so many students who come to Finland, and the best route for them is to go and start their own business. So, as I mentioned, entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's very important to have a growth mindset. And I learned this over the years. When you are in a work life, you see a barrier and you say, okay, there is a barrier. Then you pass on. If you can do it, okay, but otherwise you will pass on to your boss. Your boss see it, okay, not okay, and then done. Entrepreneurship has no such limit. Head, hand, and heart. If you have these three things together in any project, your head should be there, your heart should be there, and you actually do effort, your hand should be there, that project is going to succeed. I have no doubt. But on the other side, if your head is there, you feel like, but your heart is not there, that's not going to happen. If you think about it, but if you don't put effort around it, it will not happen. So these 3 H are critical to run the business and be a successful entrepreneur.
Ariful, you have been business consultant at T Office for new starting entrepreneurs. Do you have any good examples about starting a business as an immigrant?
Yeah, actually, I have plenty of them. So instead of pointing out just one example, I would say in general, like the ones who took enough time in planning and researching, they made good progress in their journey, and they had less surprises. But there were some clients who were in a rush to start the business for some reason, I don't know why, and then they had different challenges on the way because they missed a lot of steps on the way, and some of them even ended up shutting down their business.
Yeah. What services at T Office would you recommend, and why?
Well, as a beginner, I would say that we have this Start the Info webinar. So it may be around 2 or 2.5 hours. So for the beginner, it's a good webinar because it gives you the basic information of what you need to know and what kind of services are available when you pursue your career as an entrepreneur. And we also have business coaching, which is called Minusta yrittäjävalmennus in Finnish. Obviously, that is also in Finnish languages, but it takes like 5 days where you can get some more idea about what form of business would be perfect if you want to establish it, and then what kind of financial facilities there are, and the taxation and all those basic things. And after that, I would recommend the entrepreneurship courses. We have in TE Office which are called yrittäjäkoulutus. They are also unfortunately in Finnish, but obviously you need to speak Finnish if you wanna be a successful entrepreneur here. So that entrepreneurship course is basically for those who haven't studied anything related to entrepreneurship before or don't have any experiences. So I highly recommend to participate that course, because that course covers a lot of contents. For example, it covers the business plan, financial plan, service design, marketing strategy, financing, budget, and risk management, etc., etc. And after the entrepreneurship course, I think you are basically ready to start your business. And if you have all the criteria fulfilled, we also have a startup grant, which is called Starttiraha. So definitely suggest also, applying for that one as well. So of course it has certain criteria. One of them is like you need to have a good Finnish language skill. So if you think step by step it goes like that, this webinar and then coaching and entrepreneurship courses, and then you're ready to start your business.
Well, let's pull it together. What is, if you might say, a right order for starting a business in Finland?
Well, probably I have repeated already, so that's what I'm gonna say again. Like, writing your business idea concretely, and then discuss with the local business advisor, and then modify your plan, and be open-minded when you go to discuss with the business advisor. So they have a lot of useful hints that you can use. And after that, if the advisor thinks, or if you feel that you need to attend to some courses, so I highly recommend doing so, because that gives you a perspective of how to run a business in Finland. Maybe you might have experience of working as an entrepreneur from your home country, but since we are in a different country, the perspective is different. So the course gives you the guidelines how it works in Finland. And obviously after the entrepreneurship courses, I think you just need to make sure that you have proper financing, and then you can officially after that establish your own business. It's very simple in Finland. Yeah. And one important thing I would like to mention here is, like, if possible, try to be in touch with a local business advisor all the time during the process, so just to make sure that you are in the right path.
Yeah, good adding. And thank you for the interview, Ariful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. If you have any questions about the topic for Ariful, please leave your questions at the comment field. Ariful will be answering them in writing. And please leave us feedback through the link provided in the chat. See you at the next one and have a nice day.